Hey everybody, it's Pac-Man from Drunk Monkey Garage. Enough of the sentimental stuff. Let's get back to what you guys come here for. Today we're going to be finishing up the mailbox project that we've been working on. I'm going to put the water slide decal on the back. We're going to mask off a little section where that's going to go and do some silver base coat just to make it stand out a little bit. And then we're going to do something a little special on the flag. We're going to base coat that with silver and then put a metal flake over that and then a candy red. So with that, let's get to painting. So we're going to start out with a little bit of TransStar adhesion promoter just to put on that flag because it's made out of a plastic. I'm not sure how well things are going to stick to it. So we'll use this. Give the paint the best opportunity to stick to the part, and we'll get started with that. Just need a tiny bit of this stuff. That flag's small. I've actually cut it down a little bit so it doesn't interfere with the graphics on the mailbox. This stuff's ready to use right out of the can. You just put it in your sprayer and coat the part with it. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to mask off the rest of the paint that we've done on the mailbox. We're going to scuff down the back. I've got my water slide decal right here. But first, I made a stencil on my Cricut. I'm going to put that on here and spray some of the silver base coat as a background for the water slide decal. So I'll get that masked up and we'll get that in the booth and we'll get to spraying. Okay, now that I've got everything masked off, I'm going to take this end and scuff it up with a red Scotch-Brite pad. This will give the silver base coat a good surface to bite into. You want to make sure you get down into the little crevices, because anywhere that is still shiny, your paint's going to peel up. Follow that up with a piece of gray Scotch-Brite just to refine those scratches a little bit. And all we're scuffing up here is the clear coat that we put on to protect that layer. So after we finish our water slide transfer and clear coat this again, you won't even see any of this. Clean that off real good. What I want to do, use my magnetic ruler just to find the center point of this. Looks like 4.5 is going to be our center point here. From that point we have 4.75 inches. Gonna take our stencil and try to get that placed. In the center here. That's looking pretty good. All that's left to do now is tape off the edges of this so we don't get any bleed under. Now we're all masked up and ready to lay down some silver. I really like this coarse silver base coat from Limeline. It has a high metallic content and gives it almost a microflake appearance when it's sprayed. But yeah, it gives an extra little bling to any project you're doing. So we're going to give this a few light coats of the coarse silver base coat. Just want to cover that area to give the decal a little background, because we're using a clear decal, so the blue would show through where the white is. So what I want to do is make that silver to really make it pop. Here you can see what I'm talking about. It almost looks like we're flaking this with a micro flake. But it's actually a silver base coat. Now I've got two good coats of the coarse silver base coat. What I'm going to do now is just do a mist coat just to even all the flake out, and then we'll be ready to let that dry, unmask it, and put the decal on. So we've got our coarse silver base coat down as the backing for the decal. Remember, all this part that's going to be white here is going to be clear on this. What I'm using is product I found on Amazon. It's the Koala water slide decal paper. You can print whatever image you want right on it with an inkjet printer. What you do have to do is after you print it, you have to spray a clear coat. I usually use just a spray can clear coat. I usually use a satin. My experience, once you clear this with a high gloss clear, it'll gloss up. This clear is just to protect the ink when you put it in the water, because if you don't coat it with the clear coat, the ink will just wash right off. I made this last week. I used my Cricut just to get a precise cut around it. You don't have to have a Cricut to do this. It did make it easy when I was making the stencil, because I just used this shape and just cut out a blank that was a little bit bigger than the decal itself. That way everything matched up perfect. But like I said, you don't have to have a Cricut to do this. You can use a pair of scissors and cut this out, or, you know, whatever you want to use to cut it out with. So all you need is a printer, an inkjet printer, this water slide decal paper. The one I'm using now is clear because I wanted the silver background, but you can get a white background also, and this would look just like this when we put it on there. But I wanted the silver, so I used the clear, and we're going to get into showing you how to apply this. So basically, the way this works is, if you've ever done like model cars or anything and put decals on those, you get warm tap water, pour that into a container, just enough for it to cover the decal, and then you put your water slide decal into the water. It may try to curl up on you, so you may need to hold it a little bit, flatten it out. You let that sit in there for about 30 seconds. That'll activate the adhesive on the back and let it slide off of the backing. This is where you're going to be able to tell if you did a good enough job covering it with the clear coat. Because at this point, if you don't have it all covered with the clear coat, the ink's going to just start running off. You just test it by pulling on it a little bit. It's not quite ready, so we're going to let that sit for a few more minutes. Once it starts releasing off of the back, then you'll be ready to transfer it onto your workpiece. Alright, looks like we're about ready. So what I'm going to do is try to transfer this as smoothly as possible without stretching it too much. Stretching it will cause the clear coat. Okay, so I'm going to need to reposition this a little bit. I'm going to get a towel. I'm going to wet that. Soak it on there a little bit. See if we can scoot that over a little bit. I'm not having luck with this. Pull this off. Very careful. Oh, we are going to ruin it. So what I ended up having to do is set this up on its top so it was flat. It's hard to really hard to get that decal on a vertical surface. Set your surface horizontal, it goes on a lot easier. I did have a few wrinkles in it, but being a mailbox, I'm pretty happy with it. The clear coat did crack a little bit while I was trying to reposition it. That's one thing you got to be aware of. But overall, this is going to suit this mailbox just fine. So the next step will be to let this thoroughly dry for at least a couple hours, preferably overnight. And once this is completely dry and all the moisture's out of it, we'll go ahead and hit it with a final coat of gloss clear. What I'm going to do is, instead of messing with the clear that's already good, this clear on the body of the mailbox is just perfect. So I'm not going to mess with that. I'm going to re-tape off this, mask everything back here, and we're just going to clear coat this back edge. So we've got our decal drying. I've got my flag up there that we coated with the coarse silver base coat. What I'm going to do now is I've mixed up some Limeline candy red from the candy concentrate that they sell. We're going to give that a shot, try that out on the flag, and hopefully we'll get good results. So the red's looking really good. We're gonna build it up slowly, give it 5 minutes to flash off in between coats, just so it doesn't peel off. After we get done getting it as dark as we want it, then we'll hit it with clear coat when we do the back of the mailbox. So for the flag, what I did was I mixed up some candy red using the Limeline candy concentrate. It's a 70 to 30 ratio. I mixed up 50 milliliters of the candy concentrate and clear coat, base clear coat. That gave me 100 milliliters of sprayable once I added the reducer. For this little flag, I used about half of it, almost exactly half. The good thing about this is once it's mixed up, you can put it in a container. I'm going to use one of these little containers, put the rest of it in, and I can use that at a later time. But I wanted to show you the difference between the flag we painted and modified and the flag that came with it. This gives it a little more dimension, a little bit better color, and I think overall it's going to go much better with the mailbox. So we're going to get our clear mixed up, get back in the booth, and get everything finished up. First couple of coats of clear are going to be just kind of a tack coat. We don't want to saturate that water slide decal, otherwise we risk bubbling it up or just messing it up in general. So we're gonna do a couple of light tack coats, and then we'll go ahead and lay our clear down like we want it. So I've got a couple of light mist coats of clear on here. There's no reaction with the water slide decal. So at this point, I'm going to start laying the clear on like I normally would. Boy, I'll tell you what, if you're looking for a weight loss program, spend a couple of hours in an 85-degree paint booth with the paint suit on. So, we've gotten our decal on. We've covered it with, I actually put 5 coats of clear on this just to protect it. And we've got our flag done. We did the silver base with the candy red over it. I think it looks phenomenal. If you put it next to the original, there's a big difference. I like it much better like this. It looks like it's metal, even though it's plastic, but it turned out great. The water slide transfer, I did have a few problems with it. Looking back on it, things I would have maybe done different is started out with the mailbox turned up so that it was a flat surface instead of trying to stick it on vertically. The other thing I would have done is wet the surface of the mailbox first. That will give you a little more room to move it around. This tended to want to stick as soon as I set it down. And the other thing is I would probably use a 2K clear coat to lock in the ink from the printer, because as I was trying to move it around, not only did it wrinkle a little bit, but some of the ink cracked where the clear coat cracked. So I think a 2K clear coat might protect it a little bit better. But other than that, I mean, for me, this is good enough, and I really like it. If it was for a customer, I would probably take that decal off and redo it before I clear coated it. But for my mailbox, I'm happy with it. Overall, I think it turned out really good. I love the color combination. I love the way the crystal turned out. I am going to do the other mailbox in a red instead of the green to see if that might look better. But I really like this green-blue combination. All that's left now is to assemble the mailbox, put the pull tab on it and the flag and all that, and then we'll be able to put it up. Well, that about wraps up this mailbox. We've got it all assembled. The only thing left to do is mount it and hope that it doesn't get hit within the next month. So that's going to wrap things up for the custom mailbox project. We've replaced our old crappy one with a custom painted mailbox, which I think turned out great. We are going to work on another mailbox with a little bit different color scheme. Not sure what pattern we're going to do yet, but we are going to base it with a silver metal flake just like we did the last one. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Hit that bell icon for notification of future videos where we'll be working on this mailbox. So until next time, cheers.